Have you ever noticed that the loudest voice in the room is often the one inside your own head, telling you that you aren't ready? We spend our lives listening to a narrator that claims to be protecting us. It tells us to wait until the conditions are perfect. It tells us that the person next to us has a secret map we weren't given. It whispers that if we take the risk and fail, the social cost will be too high to pay. But we have to ask ourselves a fundamental question. Is that voice looking out for our growth, or is it simply obsessed with our safety? The problem isn't that you lack talent or resources. The problem is a crisis of belief. We have become experts at justifying our own stagnation. We mistake our comfort for our ceiling. We treat our fears as if they are objective truths, rather than what they actually are, biological echoes of a time when being different meant being cast out. This internal deception exists because our brains are not wired to make us successful. They are wired to keep us alive. From an evolutionary perspective, the unknown is dangerous. To your mind, the status quo is a victory because you survived yesterday. Therefore, any move toward a new version of yourself feels like a threat to the current version of you. Your mind isn't trying to sabotage your dreams, it is simply trying to keep the lights on. It values the certainty of a miserable present over the uncertainty of a brilliant future. But real leadership, the kind we practice over our own lives, requires us to prioritize purpose over survival. Think about the people you admire most. You don't admire them because they were never afraid. You admire them because they had a why that was more important than their fear. They understood that trust isn't something you feel only when things are going well. Trust is a decision you make when the path is dark. You must learn to trust your intent more than you trust your temporary emotions. True progress is never about the intensity of a single moment. It's about the consistency of your direction. We are often obsessed with the what and the how, the specific goals and the technical steps, but we forget the why. When you know why you are doing something, the lies your mind tells you begin to lose their power. They become background noise rather than commands. Imagine for a moment what your life would look like if you stopped negotiating with your hesitation. If you realize that the feeling of being unready is actually the feeling of growth beginning to take hold. You don't need to be the smartest person in the room, and you don't need to have all the answers. You only need to have the courage to start before you feel like you've arrived. The most profound realization you can have is this: your mind is a beautiful tool, but it is a terrible master. It will tell you that you are alone, but you are part of a human story that has always thrived on the edge of the unknown. It will tell you that you are weak, but your history is a series of moments where you endured things you thought would break you. So, the next time that voice tells you to stay small, thank it for trying to keep you safe. Then, take the step anyway. Not because the fear has gone away, but because your purpose has finally become louder than your protection. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who hears them, and you are the one who decides what happens next.